This is a questions for albinology in Asia 361. Question number one: what kit do you use in the field? What's your favorite accessory? I use Canon equipment. I use everything from a 24 to 105, 70 to 200, 400 2.8, 600 or 800, f4 or 5.6, 1.4 extender, 200 to 400 with a built-in 1.4 extender and a doubler. I think one of the most important things to carry as a wildlife photographer is a 1.4 or a 2x extender, because for a relatively small amount of money, you can actually double the length of your lens, and I think they're good. So that is something that I need. Go to equipment when you have to grab and run. My normal lens is a 24 to 105, and when I'm in the field, I always have a 70 to 200 2.8 with a 1.4 extender on it, or a doubler. Now with the 200 to 400, when I'm allowed to use that, Canon UK has been great with lending me that equipment. I'm able to use that lens quite often. But with the close proximity of the animals, 70 to 200 with a 1.4 is what I've been using most of my career. Every assignment is very challenging if you actually want a challenge. I'm not interested in shooting something without trying to figure out some images that we haven't seen before of this animal. So everything I do is challenging. Each assignment has its own challenges. Snow leopard was challenging physically. And how do you get the images? I figured out how to do that and was successful. The Hollywood cougar image was challenging because how do you put cameras in a park in Los Angeles with the public walking by at any time of the day and not having them stolen? So that was a challenge. It was an incredible challenge and took a long time to figure out, and meant that each camera essentially took about 1 week to set up. All those challenges, once they are realized and I'm successful, they become the most rewarding. So my last one was the most rewarding one, and you'll see it in the December issue of National Geographic magazine on leopards. I think the most important thing that's happened to photography in my lifetime are smartphones. I think the fact that we now carry phones with cameras in them, or cameras with phones in them, is the most important thing. It gives the general public that loves photography a way to become more visually educated or visually literate. They understand that they want to be better photographers, whether it's photographing their family or the food that they eat and then post on Instagram or something. That's the reason why National Geographic is the #1 brand on Instagram, is people enjoy looking at photography and have an opportunity to use it all day long because of their smartphones. In terms of wildlife photography and conservation, to me it's telling a story, and for me personally, how to use remotes that give us a chance to see images of animals that we would never be able to capture by ourselves without the usage of remote cameras. It's vitally important to me as a storyteller. The next question, yes, of course. If I didn't think journalism could make a difference in conservation, I'd quit, because why do it? the stories that I tell, the presentations that I give reach a lot of people. The fact that we are the #1 brand on Instagram means that we're doing something right, because we have 1 million followers every 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. It means people want to see something with substance. So our storytelling type of journalism, whether it covers environmental issues, people and culture, or conservation of the wildlife and wildlands of the world, is actually making a difference. I don't know how I could just be an observer of this, since my whole life and all the way that I make my living is involved in conservation. So the answer to that question is yes, I feel like I'm a force for conservation. I would tell young people to learn how to be to develop a visual eye and a visual way of seeing of their own. Their unique way of showing us the world through their eyes. And then when they got that down, which is to really look at great composition, the masters of painting and photography and other visual arts, and learn how to develop your own specific vision, and then learn how to put that into storytelling, then you can actually have an opportunity to work for National Geographic magazine or other magazines. I think the most important thing, and I harp on this a lot, but most photojournalism workshops are done in areas such as this, is not traveling too far. Find a story close to your home, because really the bottom line is you find your own vision and then spend as much time as possible, long-term projects with your subject. And this could be your grandmother that you know, but you didn't know her whole story. It could be someone down the block, or it could be an animal. Who knows what it is, but it's for you to decide. But don't think you have to travel halfway around the world to be able to get a story. In National Geographic, former photo director said, "Show me a great story that someone shot 15 miles from their home, and if I love it, I'll give that person a job." You know, it's the hardest thing to do, is work close to where we live. And so if you're successful at it, then that is what you need to do. The fact that this question says, how has all the disruptive technology available these days changed that path in traditional education and photography? There is nothing disruptive about technology. It just is. Things are created all the time that make life easier or different. It's actually helpful to be able to have a phone with a camera, or a camera with a phone in our pocket 24/7. So I would say that that makes life a lot easier. National Geographic actually publishes iPhone pictures. I use a drone on every story I do, and because now I do TV at the same time, so we need those aerial shots to give people a sense of place, and something exciting to look at. Giving people a reason to care is vitally important, and all this new technology makes life easier in the quest for telling a story and getting people to care. My style, I don't know. My style changes every day, because the world around me influences everything that I do. And that's something that you have to do. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't get yourself in a rut visually, or how you do your work. It's vitally important to be a sponge and let everything in and absorb it, and out comes your own specific vision. I don't have a, you know what my favorite animal is? My dog Lily. Obviously, we have an incredible coexistence between the human world and the animal world. What we need to do is recognize that coexistence, recognize its importance, the fact that the lands where these animals live are vital to us as human beings, and actually understand that we live with predators in many instances. That's why I wanted to do the mountain lion living in Los Angeles, because it does live there and we didn't know it. For 3 years, only 2 people saw that animal. We have to get beyond this when predators attack idea, because it's wrong. These animals have no desire to have any interaction with us as humans. They want to live their life as we want to live ours. And if that cat can live there for 3 years and only 2 people see him, or in Mumbai having a healthy population of leopards in the 4th largest city in the world, and me interacting with people on a daily basis who live 50 meters from where I'm photographing leopards or filming leopards, and they didn't even know they existed, and they'd lived there for 10 years, I would say that we're coexisting pretty well if these people are living there and the animals are not bothering them, or vice versa. What we need to understand is how we can have a better connection. If we help and love and help to protect the jaguar in the Amazon, understand the importance of that forest, or the forests of Central Africa where lions and leopards live, or the jungles where the tigers live in South Asia. Those jungles, no matter where they're at in the world, provide 50% of the oxygen that we as humans need to breathe. And 75% of all fresh water in one way, shape, or form comes from forests. I would say the lands where these big predators that I concentrate on live are vital to us as human beings, because we need that oxygen to breathe and we need that fresh water to drink. So if we can help protect these big cats, we can help save ourselves. If you protect the top predator in any ecosystem, you save everything underneath it. Soil is vitally important that the forests grow in. The first new antibiotics in a decade, or actually more than a decade, have come from soil. So things we don't even understand are important to our protection. So you save that big cat, you save the trees, the plants, the ants, the birds, the small animals that run through there, and the forest that we need, that provide the oxygen we breathe, that pull carbon from the atmosphere and slow climate change, and provide the water we need to drink. Thank you very much.